Hello, and if you're a regular, welcome to our Sunday broadcast. I say our, and that's myself and my wife Ying. My name is Marc Stuart, um, just a Scottish medium. The Scottish medium, you can find me on Google with those search terms. Um, this is something that the two of us have been doing since end of April, beginning of March, ever since the churches closed down. I am a church trained medium. Obviously, I have not been able to work in churches since the end of March. I was actually in America in March and in China in January. So the only time I've worked on a church platform was in February. So since then, we've been doing these weekly church style. I emphasize I'm not a church, just a church trained medium. Clairvoyance readings for people if they want to tune in. We do it every week, every Sunday. We used to do it at 8 o'clock. Now we do it at 8:30. Now this Sunday is clearly Remembrance Sunday, so I am going to do things a little bit differently for Remembrance Sunday. Um, Basically, if you want to get a reading, the rules are very simple. The methodology is simple. Put your name down in the chat so that my wife can see it. My wife will then put your name into what she calls her angel box and she will draw your name. Now, in case you don't believe me, I actually filmed her a few weeks ago. So the earlier you put your name down for a message, the better the chance you've got of getting a message, as in your name can be drawn out each time. If you wait till the very end and put your name down, then you may not get it till the very end, if you get it at all. We can get up to 30 people asking for messages during the hour, so I'm not guaranteeing that everybody's going to get a message. I do try to give as many messages as I can. Messages are kept very short. I get evidence of your loved one. I ask for feedback. I'm not asking you to say, give me the life story, but I am asking for more than just yes or no because there's a time delay. Don't know what the time delay is going to be tonight. Sometimes it can be as high as almost a minute. Sometimes it can be 10 seconds. Hopefully it's nearer 10 seconds because when it gets up to 35 to 60 seconds, basically it gets very difficult to work in two ways. Number one, I'm holding the spirit, trying to get feedback so the spirit can give me more evidence. And if I give you, let's say, 3 bits of evidence in that time, so for the sake of argument, let's say I've got a man that used to walk a black dog and he had crutches before he died. If you just come back and say yes, 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 I don't know what you're saying yes to. It might even just be saying that you're still there with the time delay. So basically, say yes, man, no dog, yes, crutches, so that I know what I got right, and spirit can give me more evidence about the bits that I've misinterpreted or may not even be your message. So, as I said, when you give feedback, make sure you say or you make clear what you're giving feedback to. Now, I am a spiritual medium. I believe in life after death. I'm trying to keep this as close to church service conditions. So, you're going to get an opening prayer, you're going to get a spiritual address, and you're also going to get something that I'm doing this week for Remembrance Sunday. I have never served in the military at any point in my life, but I think it's a very important event that we remember every year, and we should give thanks to the people that laid their lives down to keep us all safe on both sides of the war or wars. There's no good, there's no bad events in war. Okay, so that's pretty much all I've got to say, except you'll see at the bottom, putting a message up for a page on my website. We do this every week. However, the last broadcast we do this month is going to be to try and raise money for charity. If you want a reading on that day, you need to book it in advance and you will be expected to make a £5 donation to charity. Which charity? Well, I have chosen a charity that is very personal to me. Let me introduce you to my father. That's a long time ago, as you can probably tell by the young, youthful son next to him, well over 3 decades ago. My father has crossed over into spirit, clearly, but his last years were spent in a hospice, Marie Curie in Edinburgh. So I would like to try and raise some money at the end of the month to make a donation to the hospice. If the event works, like if we raise some money, then I'm going to do it at the end of every month. So I'll choose a different charity each month, and we'll make a donation after it on behalf of everybody that gets a reading. Okay, so that's pretty much all the basics. So if everyone would please join me for a short prayer to give thanks. Let me just work my controls. And my computer's deciding to play up, as it always does. Something always goes wrong. Okay, there we go. Let me change computer. It's one of the joys of having two computers when you're working. Sorry for the delay, people. Okay, so if everybody would please join me for a prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you very much for bringing us together. Thank you for opening the door to the other side. Please bring forward our loved ones. Please help me to communicate with them. Please help me to get the right spirit for the right person this week. Amen. And please protect us while we're working. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for that. Now, spiritual address. What is an address? An address means many different things. The most basic meaning is where you stay. It's where the postman delivers your mail to. A spiritual address for a medium is actually being guided by spirit. I didn't know what I was going to be talking about until literally the split second that I started talking. It's where spirit comes forward and tries to connect with a group of people as opposed to an individual person, and gives a message to everybody so that we can all take something from it. What I'd like to say about your address is be proud of it. It's your home. It's where you feel safe. And in current conditions with lockdown and etc., it's also where you've got to live, possibly with your family, possibly seeing each other a lot more than you would. And we've seen all sorts of broadcasts and statistics of abuse within the household. So while you're at home, remember your neighbors. Remember, okay, you can't go next door, but you can Zoom next door, can't you? Just like we're using Zoom to communicate, you can knock on the window, you can knock on the door, you can meet in the middle of your garden, you can meet in the street. That elderly person that you used to see in the shop, just make sure they're okay. That family that you always felt uneasy about, the husband and the wife, just make sure that the wife's okay. You're okay in your home. I hope so. I pray that you are. Just make sure that everyone around you at their address is also okay. And if you change address, remember to put a forwarding address on so that your mail can follow you. Spirit will obviously know where you're going. Okay, so thank you for your patience for the address. I would like to introduce you to someone. This is a doctor who was a doctor in the World War I, John McCrae. He was also a poet, and I'm just about to read out a poem that I'm sure you will recognize. And I would like you to listen to the words because they're very spiritual. Very, very spiritual. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing by, fly. scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. That is, of course, the poem that basically started the adoption of poppies, the emblem that we use for Remembrance Day. So thank you. With 2 minutes silence in our time zone was this morning. Okay. So let's get to business while you're here. Coming to Sharon Elaine Jackson. Sharon Elaine Jackson. So Sharon, please give me a quick yes if you're still with me. I have a man coming forward. What he's drawing attention to are either his shoes or his feet. I'm not very sure which actually, but he's showing me wearing white shoes. I don't know if they're dancing shoes. So this might be a man that did some dancing when he was alive. They're very, I'm just going to describe them as male dancing shoes because they're white. He's got black trousers on. Again, it's just emphasizing the shoes. He may have been a dancer. He may have been a performer, actually. When he passed, I think he was quite elderly. And he had breathing problems. I think the breathing problems were before he passed. Very severe breathing problems. Age-wise, difficult to judge. In his 70s, 60s, upwards of 60. The shoes might be symbolic, if not literal. But he is certainly showing me shoes and striped trousers. You know, it's almost maybe I've misinterpreted the shoes as dancing shoes, but the trousers look more like formal dress trousers. You know, the kind of thing that you would wear at a dress dinner. Why you would wear white shoes at a dress dinner, I don't know. Maybe a wedding. Is there some sort of semblance? Maybe a man getting at a marriage ceremony for you, and it's the man that's the bride or the man that's wearing the white shoes. I'm trying to make this fit, but it may be literal or it may be symbolic. I'm trying to make sense of this for you, Sharon. The man has short grey hair. Also finding it difficult to speak. It's not just the breathing. It's towards the end, I'm almost crouching or crooking my voice. Yeah, he's wearing a top hat, so it's definitely formal dress. Okay, Sharon, it's not yourself then. All right, I don't like doing this for a first message, but I'm going to have to open this up, people. We've got a man wearing white shoes, formal dress, striped grey trousers. I don't know if it's. I don't know if the white shoes are symbolic of the man being the bride at the wedding, which doesn't make any sense to me, or if he actually wore dancing white shoes. When he passed, he was upwards of 60, maybe early 70s. He certainly had extreme problems breathing and either choking or something with his voice. And I don't like using the word croak because that's got death imagery, which I'm not trying to say. Like when he was speaking, it was crouched or croaked, his voice. So can anyone take this man before I ask him to step back? Possibly also something to do with his hands. My hands are getting, maybe a healer, a doctor. My hands are getting very vibrationy. So can anyone recognize this spirit before I ask him to step back? I'm going to give it a few seconds before I ask him to step back. If anybody can recognize this man, even if it's just a possibility, come forward now, or I'm going to ask him to step back. Actually, my arms are shaking now, so it's not just my hands. It's my whole arms are trembling. Okay, just to be clear, when I do an open message, I don't need everybody to come forward and say no. I just need the people that, if there's anyone that can recognize the spirit, to come forward. So I'm going to ask them to step back. Okay, sorry about that. Coming to Jean Spears. Jean Spears. So, Jean Spears. Jean, I've got someone coming forward. I think there might have been a hearing issue or a speech issue, either hearing or speech or both. Don't think this person was deaf, so I'm more emphasis on the speech than the hearing. Or somebody symbolic that's so far away you never heard from them. I'm just getting complete silence, not getting any words, not getting any sound, and I'm definitely being drawn towards speech. So it's either somebody that you never heard of when they were alive, you're like sort of long distance or close, but you just literally never heard from them, or somebody that couldn't speak and hear and speak. Some sort of, yeah, it's definitely speech, because I'm actually finding it difficult to articulate. I'm actually finding it difficult to articulate my words. Okay, so Jean, it's physical. It's somebody that had hearing issues, maybe speech issues, or maybe mental issues in being able to recognize and coordinate speech. So I'm also finding it very difficult to work out whether this is a man or a woman. The emphasis is just totally on the hearing and the speech and not being able to speak. Jean, does any of this make sense to you? Someone whose sexuality, maybe somebody whose sexuality you was confused, or somebody that's, if it's not physical hearing and speech, total confusion. Like they're not able to articulate words, they're so confused. Does any of this make sense to you, Jean? I'm just getting silence again. So, Jean, does any of this make sense to you? So, Jean, if you can't take it, give me a no. Okay, but can you take the confusion? The speech, I mean, confusion to the point of not being able to speak. Can you take the hearing, the voice, or confusion? Does any of that make sense to you? I mean, they're not showing me their sex. That doesn't mean to say it's sexuality. It's just me trying to make sense of what I've got. So can you make sense of any of the rest of it, Jean? So, Jean, are you saying by saying not sexuality? Okay, right. So, Jean, when I give you that, please come back to me as fast as you can, because when I get feedback from you, Spirit will give me more. I get the feeling this is a woman. quite elderly before she passed. So can you take this as an elderly woman before she passed? So Jean, can you recognize this person with the speech problem as female, elderly? I'm not sure what our time delay is, Jean, but if you can get back to me, please get back to me. Right, thank you, Jean. And again, Jean, as I said at the beginning, please don't just give me a clear yes. Give me yes or no's to what you're saying, because that helps me to work so with the time delay. Okay, I'm assuming you're saying yes to everything else. Why is she coming forward? There's something unresolved in your life just now. And we're not talking something major, something going on involving somebody else. A man? Is there something going on between you and a man that is unresolved? Okay. Thank you. That's the kind of feedback I need, people. Yes, what it is, no, what it's not, or maybe what it is or isn't. Thank you, Jean. This woman has very strong opinions on whatever it is that isn't resolved. Does the color red mean something to you? Not physically, symbolically. You know, like the red Spanish bullfighter, with the red blanket standing in front of the bull, holding it like that to get the bull to charge. That's what I'm being shown, not a bull. Okay, so the red means something to you. Okay. I'm trying to work out what she's saying because she's giving me bits that you can take without making. I take it this is very personal to you because she's not giving me any details here, which always makes it difficult to work. I do wish when Spirit would trust me to use my own judgment as to what not to give. Broken bottles. Smashed bottles. I mean, as though you've picked up a bottle and you've thrown it and it's smashed on the ground everywhere and there's bits of glass everywhere. I don't know if that's literal or if that's you walking on it. Like walking on, yeah, the expression walking on broken glass. Does that mean something to this unresolved issue? Because that's what she's showing me. Broken bottles or glass. I'm assuming it's bottles, but it's broken shards of glass with blood on it, as though you've been walking on it, which obviously would tie into the color red, but okay, we're getting there. Right. I think this is symbolic for you, Jean, and you're going to have to take this and work out what it means because she's not giving me enough to figure this out, but she's showing you basically cleaning your bleeding feet and putting bandages on them. Just to let everybody see, Ying is actually a professional podiatrist, so that's her taking a literal meaning to this metaphorical message. I do love my life. I do love my wife. I might laugh at her, but I do love her. So, Jean, I'm being shown you cleaning your feet and putting bandages on them to heal and protect yourself. I think the message, yeah, I'm beginning to make sense of this. I'm not getting enough information to work out what all of this is, but you've literally to protect yourself. Resolve, but do it with protection. Like, don't resolve it by walking on glass, whatever that means to you. Look after yourself, put the bandages on the feet, and go see my wife, the podiatrist. I'm being sarcastic there. I don't know where you live, so probably too far away to come and get her as a podiatrist, but she is very good. She is very, very good. Okay, coming to Fee Morton. Fee Morton. So, Fee. Fee, I've got a man coming forward. I'm actually finding it very difficult to see his face because the hair on his face is so thick, it's incredible. I mean, he's got a beard growing out of here, out of here, out of here. I mean, I think I'm being slightly sarcastic, but we're not talking about somebody that hasn't shaved. We're talking about somebody that needs the beard clipped, the beard clipped, not the bear. Somebody in spirit, a man, obviously, who had a very heavy beard. I think he was quite elderly because I get the feeling the beard is also graying quite far. Sophie, can you recognize somebody in spirit who had a beard? I don't know how old he is, but the beard is noticeably grey, black and grey. So the beard is black and grey. And I get the feeling the hair was quite curly as well. Possibly, and I'm guessing here because I'm being shown somebody else that I know, possibly with the name Chris or C, or at least a name beginning with C. That may not be the man in spirit. That may be a name that you can recognize that he's giving as evidence that you can connect to. But this man in spirit, the only thing he's really showing me is his beard. And also, I said the only thing he was showing me, I want to put my hand up to my mouth as though I had bad breath. So can you take a man with a beard? Okay, Fee, right. Now, this is too specific. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to open this up again, people. So everybody, this is an open message again. Can you take a man in spirit that had a heavy beard? A very thick beard, black hair, possibly either heartburn or bad breath. So can anyone recognize this person? So can anyone take a man in spirit, old enough for his black beard to beginning to grey, either heartburn or bad breath, maybe both, maybe heartburn combined with bad breath. So can anyone take this spirit? Or do I have a lot of spirits coming forward that nobody can take? So, as I said, it's a man, very thick, heavy beard, graying. I mean, it's not a grey beard, don't get me wrong. It's still a good black beard, but noticeably strands of grey in the beard. And either bad breath or heartburn, possibly both. Noticeable. So can anyone take this person? Again, people, if you think you can recognize this man, come forward, or I'm going to ask him to stand back and move on to the next person. So can anyone take this man before I move on? Okay, people, I'm sorry. I'm asking the spirit to step back. So
here's what I found.
Kaz, coming to yourself. Excuse my phone, Google stepping in there. Okay, Kaz, so just to prove that the names do go on a piece of paper. Kaz, I'm being shown somebody, oh God, the spirits are coming out in formal dress tonight. Somebody at a wedding. So somebody that I get the feeling this is somebody you didn't know that well. I'm being shown the bride at a wedding. So obviously a woman. Your biggest memory of her is her wedding. So somebody that you maybe didn't see very often, or somebody you were at the wedding of, and then you found out had passed many years later. She showed me her. She's at her wedding. I think she's in her late 30s, early 40s. But I get the feeling she was a lot older when she passed. But you didn't know her as she was getting older. But you did. You were at family wedding of some description, but it's somebody you didn't know very well because you really only saw her at the wedding for some reason, either distance or distant relative. Get the feeling of distance here, maybe both, distance or distant relative. So, Kaz, does any of this make sense to you? A woman that's passed into spirit, the biggest event that you knew her at, maybe when you were a lot younger, actually. Get the feeling you were maybe a child at the wedding. So you were at the wedding. That's a big memory, or alternatively, it's the only time you saw her. Maybe it's a big. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Maybe it's a big. Maybe it's just a big memory you have of the woman. Clearly, she's now in spirit. Um, Attention's been drawn to my left eye as well. My left eye suddenly just want to, scratch it like that. Okay, thank you, Kaz. Let's see why the woman's coming forward. Kaz, she's showing me a letter, a handwritten letter. So, have you either just received a handwritten letter, or are you? It's definitely a letter. It's got the it's got the name and the address. It's got dear, and it's handwritten. It's not computer typed. I didn't actually know that we still did handwritten letters. So, are you expecting a handwritten letter? Are you doing a handwritten letter? Have you just received a handwritten letter? It's very well written. I get the feeling this is somebody that's elderly that's written it. It's very, I don't know what they call it. You know, the old fashioned joined up handwriting. You know, the really old fashioned kind of thing that elderly people write with. Or a professional, you know, somebody that's really learned calligraphy, you know, somebody that's really learned how to write. Very neat, straight lines. And it's not like you, it's blank paper. Maybe the letter's symbolic, maybe the letter identifies somebody, but it's definitely a handwritten letter I'm being shown. So, can you associate this with somebody that's alive? Or does the letter mean something to you? Or are you expecting it? Or give me some feedback, Kaz, because I can't get anything else until I get this letter identified. Okay, Kaz, don't be scared. Whatever this letter is, it's good news. So somebody is writing a handwritten. I'm interpreting this. So either you're going to get a handwritten letter that means something to you, or you're going to, when you go off, it's going to suddenly hit you like that. Oh, that's what that meant. Whatever it is, it's good news. Can't make anything other. I mean, like I say, it may be something that you're going to associate with somebody as opposed to a physical letter, or it may be a letter that you're going to receive, or it's going to mean something to you after tonight, after we finish tonight. But whatever it is, whatever the association is, it's good news. So I'm going to leave you with that, Kaz. Just expect good news, whatever it is. Either work out what it is or look for the letter. So coming to Mary Murray. Mary Murray. Mary, I've got a man coming forward. Can you take a man in spirit with the name Bob or Bobby or a name beginning? I'm not good with names, so when I give a name, always take it as wide as you can, because I really am not good with names. But I'm getting a B. Bobby, Bob. Uh, so, Mary, somebody in spirit, a man, a name beginning with B. I think it's Bobby or Bob or Bobby, Bernie, but definitely a B. So can you take any man in spirit with a name beginning with B? Like I say, Bobby, Bernie, Bob, maybe Robert, because obviously Bob would be an abbreviation of Robert, the B in the middle. Possibly. Like I said, I'm not good with names. It's definitely a B. So we'll go with Brian. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting a clear Brian. Oh, sorry. Don't know Brian. Sorry. Right. Okay. Sorry. I misread that. Like I say, when you put Brian up, I got a positive flash of that. So maybe widen your thought process. Brian got a. You saw the way I went. Yes, I got a flash in my head when you put Brian up. Can you take somebody on the earthly plane that's called Brian, even at arm's length? It doesn't have to be somebody close, but I'm definitely getting a name beginning with B. And when you put Brian up, okay, let's see what else I can get from this person then. An overweight man, very overweight, unhealthily overweight, maybe even a type 2 diabetic. Uh, right, Mary, I don't know what you mean there, both in spirit and here. So are you saying you can take somebody with the name? Brian. You can take a Brian. Okay, Mary, Ying's interpreting that you're saying yes to Brian. So, like I said earlier, you really, 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 when you give me a yes or a no, like you were doing, you need to give me feedback so I know what you're saying yes or no to. So I'm going to go with yes for Brian because Ying is also spiritual, so she picks things up as well. Okay, thank you, Mary. So we got there eventually. Are the two Brians connected? Because I got very strong Brian. Is the Brian that you know here connected to the Brian in spirit? Or is it just Brian in spirit that's talking about the Brian that you know here? So is it, who is the person that's overweight? Is it Brian in spirit or is it Brian here? Right, so yes, they are connected. So which one of the two of them is overweight? Possibly type 2 diabetic? Or is it neither of them? Is it somebody else? Somebody, either either of the two Brians, or somebody around you who, if it's a third party, overweight. Right, so it's Brian here. Right, okay. Okay, we got there eventually. So Brian in spirit wants you to talk to Brian, who's overweight with the diabetes. He's not. He's doing something to not look at. He's doing something that makes the diabetes worse. Or no, I don't diagnose. So do not go running to him saying the medium said you're about to whatever. I am not going to diagnose anything here. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that Brian in Spirit wants you to speak to Brian, who's overweight and type 2 diabetic. Maybe he's not a type 2 diabetic yet. Maybe that's it. Or if he is, I don't know which one it is, but he's doing something that puts his health at risk. It's not that he's diabetes, if it's diabetes, or he's about to become diabetic. It's the way that he's living, whatever it is he's doing is going to complicate it. So you need to speak to Brian alive and let him know that Brian in spirit wants him to change or stop doing or correct. Like I say, I do not diagnose, so I am not going to sit here and say he's going to become a diabetic or his diabetic complications XYZ. I'm just going to leave it with you to speak to him, have a conversation with him, find out what the Brian above is very guttural in his language. Because this is streamed and because we've got a lot of ladies in the audience, I'm not going to use the language that he just put into my head. But basically, get to the bottom of it and get it dealt with, because if you don't, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so this is something that I am pretty keyed up on, which is probably why they came via myself, because I recognize it. Like I say, I am not going to sit here and diagnose, not prepared to do that, but speak to Brian, please. You're welcome. Okay, coming to Monique Carpenter Scott. Monique or Monique, excuse me, I'm reading my wife's handwriting. Monique, are you still with us? I have a woman coming forward. Get the feeling this woman passed when she was younger. Now, bearing in mind I'm 55, I may not look 55, but I am an incredibly aged 55-year-old. She's younger than me anyway, a good bit younger than me. She's one of these women that could look 20 to 40. She could look like a 40. She could be 40 that looks 30, or she could be 20 that looks 30. Strange that I went into the middle there at 30. So a woman who looks as though she's about 30. She may be younger looking older. She may be older looking younger. Or she may literally be 30 when she passed. But that's what I was given. Quite petite, quite short, good looking, a very good looking woman. I'm not going to use the word sexy, but if I wasn't married, if my wife wasn't through there drawing out your names, if I met her in a bar, I wouldn't have any hesitation in asking her for a drink. She's a very attractive woman when she was alive, and she wants you to know she's the way she dressed. She presented herself in that manner, if you know what I mean. And I'm not being critical there. I'm just stating that's how she's presenting herself now. So a woman, 20 to 40, round about 30s, I think, smallish, petite, very sexy woman, very feminine woman, very attractive woman. So Monique, are you still with us? As I've given quite a bit and we haven't had any feedback. So Monique, if you don't get some feedback from you soon, I'm going to ask the spirit to step back and move on to the next person. So Monique, if you're here, I do need you to come forward. Even if you can't take the spirit, please come forward. Right, I'm sorry, Monique. I'm asking the spirit to step back. Coming to Alan Berwick. Alan Berwick? Alan. Alan, I've got somebody who feels very grandfatherly. If it's not your grandfather, certainly that age group. And I think we're on your mother's side. Quite an elderly man, quite a strong-willed man. Okay, thanks for the correction of the name.
So it's going to be Elaine.
So Elaine, are you taking the message for Alan? I take it. Yeah. Okay. Just getting corrected by Ying, because Ying watches the text a lot closer than I do because I'm too busy concentrating on the message. Okay, so Alan, can you take your grandfather on your mother's side as a very, very strong-willed man? Quite elderly when he passed, grey hair. Get the feeling the hair was, when he was younger, quite bushy. Okay, so I'm going to take that as a yes to everything that I've given for the description. Again, people, if you're saying yes, say yes to what you're saying yes to, just for clarification. Otherwise, I'll take it as everything. He wants you to... Now, I know it's Christmas, and I know we normally have Christmas cake at Christmas. So, you know the kind of fruit cake that Christmas cake is made out of? Is that something that either he liked or you like? Okay, understand. So this may be further evidence for you then, Alan. Something about... I don't know if it's Christmas cake itself. I mean, I know we're getting up to Christmas in about 6 or 7 weeks, so it's not Christmassy. It's the cake itself. Does that mean something to either to you? Do you like that type of cake? Or is there some sort of issue around Christmas cake at the moment? Or do you especially like that type of cake? Is he giving it as evidence that he's tuned into you? Ah, okay, Alan. So you were a baker.
Makes one choose both of them.
Okay, Alan. All right. So it's evidence that you were a baker, right? Okay. So, did you or do you bake Christmas? Do you bake your Christmas cake? Do you actually make your Christmas cake for Christmas? Does that make sense? Do you make the family Christmas cake? I'm trying to make sense of what I'm being given here, Alan. Do you, as a baker, I mean, I know you're saying you were a baker. Right. Okay, so there's something about the cake, something very specific about the cake that your grandfather wants you to know about or do, or it's much more than just evidence. Let me see what else he'll give me. Oh, no, you're having problems with your head. I suddenly put my hand up to my head. Is the Christmas cake a headache? Or is there a headache about Christmas? Or are you actually having headaches? Maybe the Christmas cake is symbolic of Christmas. But when I suddenly stopped thinking about the... Right, so you love the Christmas cake, okay. So what's the headache? I say, I can't take my hand away from my forehead. I don't know if it's symbolic or if it's literal. Are you having pains in your head, Alan? Are you... Either is there something going on that is a major headache, an issue, or do you have a literal headache? I'm trying to sort out which one it is, and I'm not getting any... Whatever it is, it's totally... Right, so no to headaches. Okay, so it must be symbolic then. Aileen, I was going to come to you next. Can this be a reading for the two of you? Aileen, I'm going to work with the two of you, husband and wife. So, Aileen, can you understand a headache? Or somebody around you? Working with the two of you now. Can the two of you... It may be symbolic. It may not be literal. It may be a situation or an event that is a headache or will be a headache. So can the two of you take... And also, I'm putting my hand around like that. Okay. Right, so this is a reading for the two of you then, Aileen and Alan. This headache, are you... Right, so Aileen, is it a literal headache or is it a symbolic headache? Give me some clarification here because I'm trying to make sense of what I'm getting. Is it a literal headache for you or is it a symbolic headache of a situation? Just say the word symbolic or literal. Which one is it? I'm trying to make sense of it. I can't get my hand away from the headache. He's not going to take the headache away from me until I can figure out whether it's symbolic or literal. So Aileen, is it a real physical headache? Because that's what it feels like actually. Or is it a symbolic, or is it both? Is it... Right, I'm taking that as real headaches then. Okay. Right, so I said this was a reading for the two of you. Alan, can you intervene here with your wife and get her to deal with these headaches? And I don't just mean taking headache tablets. Now, I do not diagnose. Let's be absolutely clear here to the two of you. I am not diagnosing, but I am making you aware. You're already aware of the headache, Aileen. Alan, are you aware of how bad these headaches are? If not, very severe message from your grandfather. Why not? And what are you doing to help your wife to get rid of them? Maybe go see a doctor. Now, I do not panic. I am not diagnosing. I am underlining the fact that I am not diagnosing. I am only drawing your attention to the fact of a symptom. Okay. I am not diagnosing. I am only drawing Alan's attention to a very severe headache that your wife is having. I am not saying what is causing the headache. I'm not getting any information like that. You're already aware. You're already aware of the headache. Ying's already sending you healing energy. I will do the same at the end, but go and see a doctor, please. And do not panic. I'm not saying run to the doctor, life and death. I am not saying anything like that. Let's just be absolutely clear. I am not diagnosing, but I am saying go get it taken care of. Don't ignore it. Don't just take a headache tablet. I'll leave the two of you with that. Okay, people. So if I can come to, and I'm sorry for my pronunciation again. I am terrible with this. I can't even pronounce your name. I apologize. Can I come to Miss Thompson? I apologize for not being able to pronounce your name. I'm not even going to try. You saw what I did to poor Monique or Monique. Okay. I have a man coming forward. Very tall, very thin. A tall, thin man before he passed. I'm going to go to describing him as slim. I actually think he's so thin it was unhealthy. I think his thinness is caused by medical conditions that he passed. Thank you. So can you take a man in spirit? I'm going to use this is his expression of describing himself as thin as a rake. But I actually think the thinness is a symptom of his illness before he passed. So we're talking long-term illness, wasting away, getting very thin before he passed, or elderly and sort of getting very, very thin before he passed, but more on the unhealthiness. So this is somebody who is very unhealthy before he passed, who became very thin. So Ms. Thompson, can you take this? Can you understand who this person is? Also, again, I think this is a symptom of his illness. Choke? Something about his throat? Okay. Right, thank you. So, get him to take the throat back. He's coming forward. Have you been asking a question? Ms. Thompson, have you been asking a question of spirit? You've been asking spirit to get a question very recently. Is that yes, you can to the question? Please, again, people, I'm reiterating it. Don't give me yeses or nos. Give me yes, I can take the man. Yes, I can take the thinness. Yes, I can take the question. So, Ms. Thompson, I'm taking that as a yes to the question. The answer that I'm getting, as you can see, it's not a headache this time. I'm rubbing my forehead. As in, why are you this is what I'm getting from this man. Why are you wasting your time asking a question that you know the answer to? So again, please, Ms. Thompson, don't give me yeses and nos. Give me yes, yes, and yes question, yes answer, yes, whatever. Because I'm just looking at yeses and nos. Okay, understand, thank you. So the answer is, why are you wasting Spirit's time asking this question? The answer they're giving, quite literally, why are you wasting your time and Spirit's time asking a question that Spirit can't answer for you and you already know the answer to? The answer's staring you in the face. You don't need somebody from Spirit to come forward and direct you. Does that make sense to you? That's all I'm getting for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's not a clear-cut question for you. Thanks, Jason. I'm sorry it's not a clear, straightforward answer for you, but that's what I'm getting. So I'm going to leave you with that, Ms. Thompson. Meanuye. I think that's Jason just corrected me. I'm going to leave you with that. That is the only answer I'm getting. Okay, I'm glad you can take that. So this is my last message, people. Now, people, please do not all rush away because I'd like to do a closing prayer. And I've got a few bits and pieces I'd like to talk about at the end. So the next message is for Jason. Jason, I've got somebody in spirit who the first thing they did with me was make me close my eyes. Now, I don't think it's somebody that's blind. It's not close my eyes. I just suddenly got very, very tired. I just want to go like this and shut my eyes and close and go to sleep. It's a man. Get the feeling the wrong side of 60 anyway. So, Jason, can you take a man in spirit who, I don't know if it was his medical condition or if he was just somebody that you always had memories of falling asleep. I think it's more than that. I think it's the person's actual medical condition. A man, again, I'm doing it again. He's literally making me want to go. I'm going to fall asleep. Jason, if you can't give me some feedback, I am literally going to fall asleep. I'm actually fighting it to keep my eyes open. Thanks for that. That kept me awake. Okay, right. So it's you and your granddad. Okay, so yeah, your granddad's nodding at that, and he's letting me waken up. Oh God, if that's how you feel, God help you. Okay, Jason. So your granddad is coming forward. It's quite simple. He wants to kick you up the bloody rear end. Oh, I'm not going to repeat the language he's using. Um, Loves you, proud of you, but you've got to look after yourself better. Now, I know we've had readings for you before, but yes, it's exactly the same. You've got to look after yourself because if you can't look after yourself, you're not going to be able to look after other people. So you know what we're talking about, Jason. I'm not going to repeat previous messages. Um, Look after yourself. Go to bed a wee bit earlier. Don't take the energy drinks. Stop taking the coffee to waken yourself up. And just maybe take an hour in the afternoon to get a sleep. And I know with things that can sometimes be difficult, but that's the message. So thanks for the feedback, Jason. I'll leave you with that. And your granddad, like I say, love, pride, all of it overflowing for you. Really overflowing. Now, God, now that he's got me awake, he wants me to give you. He wants. Was there something about Jason? Was there something about your granddad's mouth shape, like talk? Suddenly finding it difficult to actually. I was going to say pride again, but I don't know. I don't know if that means something to Jason, but physically, all of a sudden, I'm finding it difficult to move my mouth. Don't know if I'm just going to leave you with that because I can't get anything else out of that. But something about your mouth or his mouth. Right. Well, maybe get that looked at. Like I say, I'm actually finding it difficult to speak. Now, I don't, as I've said umpteen times tonight, I don't diagnose, but whatever that is, get it looked at. Or go exercise. Oh, God, I'm going to turn this into a comedy. Sorry. Right. Okay. Jason, I'll leave you with that happy thought. Okay. So it's evidence. Fair enough. Leave you with that, Jason. Ah, so it comes back to the thanks and the pride then. Okay, sorry, I misinterpreted that. He just basically wants you to know how happy and proud he is, because that's what I was saying. I was suddenly like that when I was trying to say how proud he was of you. Sorry, I didn't make that connection. I should have. Apologies for that. But that makes sense. Thanks for the feedback. He just wants you to know how thankful and proud he is of you and for that night. Okay, people. So, if you would please pay attention for a few seconds. Again, if you could please look at the bottom of the screen, you will see a website. I am looking for a maximum of 10 people to do readings on the night of the 29th. I will be using Zoom instead of just a live broadcast. It will be a 5-minute private reading per person. The charge is £5. All the money is going to charity. It is going to a hospice here in Edinburgh called the Marie Curie. My father passed away there, so I personally feel as though I owe them. Please go to that website, donate £5. You'll get the Zoom link back. Less the processing charges of the funds, all the money raised, all of it is going to the charity on the 30th of November. So please, especially the people that come every week, this is your chance to do something for me by helping me to support a charity that's close to my heart, because that is where my father passed, and they did a lot of work. They do a lot of work for a lot of people. You know what hospices are. I don't need to do a selling. I don't need to do a selling song for what a hospice is, especially in the current climate. They must be. So please, people, go to that website. £5 donation. You'll get the Zoom link back same day or next day once I get the chance to process it, and you will get an invitation and a time when to come on the 29th for your private Zoom message. So £5 for a private reading and all the money going to charity? Come on, people, it's the bargain of the century. Okay, so if everybody would please join me for our closing prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you for the messages. Please apologize to the spirits that came forward that we couldn't identify who they were trying to communicate with. Please send some healing energy to anyone that needs it that was here tonight. I can think of a few people. I'm not going to name them again. Please look after everyone that's here. Please look after everyone. Please bring peace to everybody, and please help us to cope with the mess that we've made of the world just now. Thank you. Amen. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Not really got much to say, except you know what you're getting next, my closing music. I do like my Scottish music. So I'm going to leave you with closing images. It's that time of year again. Let's send healing memories and